topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Draw me close to you, never let me go, and lay it all down again, to hear you say that I'm a friend.
Hey, the Almighty Creator desires a deep personal relationship with you. My name is James Robertson. I'm a researcher, publisher, and teacher regarding the matters and truths of the Almighty Creator, whose true name is Yah, the Eternally Self-Existing. I've been actively serving him since 1993, over 33 years. If you're not actively serving Yah, then by default you're serving Satan. My objective is to show you how you can make a big difference on earth and qualify for a position of high esteem in heaven for eternity. It is important to understand that as a believer, just being good is not the point. It's relationship with Yah that counts. Without this, you will be in a very unpleasant place in heaven with no way out. My aim is to show you how to get close to Father. If you're a good person without a clear relationship with Yah, then you're in a spiritual no man's land and you'll not enter heaven when you die. The Creator has said it regarding unbelievers. Why would I want someone to spend eternity with me when they do not believe I exist? Yah is calling everybody on the planet to be involved and serve him and help him to have victory over Satan. Fundamentally, we each need to learn to see things on earth from his perspective. Please visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org or email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org for more information. Today we're going to talk about the true name of the Almighty Creator is Yah, the Eternally Self-Existing. The overview. How does one have a relationship with someone if one does not know that person's name? The Almighty Creator has said, if you love me, you will call me by my true name. So do you know the true name of the Almighty Creator? Do you know him as Lord, the Lord, or God? Did you know that the Hebrew word that means Lord, when accurately translated, is Baal, the demonic mastermind and idol that is repeatedly condemned in the Old Testament of the Bible? Did you know that it's an insult to refer to the Almighty Creator as the Lord? Folks, these are deep things. The satanic realm, the demonic realm, have corrupted the Bible translations, have corrupted people's understanding. The name of Yah gets translated when it's not translatable to the Lord, and the name of Baal, which means the Lord, is not translated. Do you have any comprehension for what an insult that is to Father? This is based on the article 2024-0808. The true name of the Almighty Creator is Yah, the Eternally Self-Existing. Did you know that since May 2003, it's been gross sin to refer to Father as the Lord? Grace for this error was withdrawn so that Satan could be sentenced to the 1,000 years in the pit in 2003. Did you know that you will bring judgment on yourself if you continue to refer to him as the Lord? In other words, avoid calling the Creator the Lord, L-O-R-D in capital letters, at all costs. So what is his true name? The New King James Bible reports Deuteronomy 6:4 saying, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. If we drill down on that in the Interlinear Bible, if you go onto the Bible Hub website and find that verse, we find that the word represented as the Lord in that verse is actually Strong's number 3068. In Hebrew, Yah, YHWH, rendered Yahweh, YHWEH. Just go onto the internet, BibleHub.com, and then look for interlinear and Deuteronomy 6:4, and you'll find this. Drilling down to Strong's Concordance and other references also in Bible Hub, we find that YHWH, the actual Hebrew, is reported as the proper name of the God of Israel. Scrolling down, we find that Yahweh is translated God 314 times, Lord 6,399 times, and Lord's plural, or Lord's possessive, 111 times. So this is pretty important. And folks, I want to really get your attention on this. The proper name of the Almighty Creator, rendered in the Bible Hub interlinear as Yahweh, has been replaced by God 314 times, Lord, L-O-R-D in capital letters, 6,399 times, and Lord, apostrophe S, 111 times. What an insult. And the result is that the vast majority of people who at some level claim to believe insult the Creator every time they call him the Lord. He hates that name. It's an insult. It's Genesis is out of mistaken belief that you shouldn't try and pronounce the name of Yah based on the third commandment, thou shalt not take the name of Yah, the eternally self-existing, your mighty one, in vain. So people stopped using Yah, and then they substituted the Lord, Adonai, in the Hebrew. And then that was carried over into the Christian translations as the Lord, capital L-O-R-D. It's an example of where the demonic forces have given a big FU to Yah. And people who, at some level, are making an attempt to serve the Creator insult him every time they call him the Lord. His name is Yah. Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahuwah, but fundamentally Yah. When I first heard of Yahweh back in 2000, I went to Father and I asked him if this was important. His reply was simple. James, how would you like it if your family called you by the name of your worst enemy? If you fast for truth and get on your knees before Father seeking truth, and this takes time, see the article Getting Close to Yah, Appropriate Prayer and Fasting are Vital, the answer to doctrinal differences. You will come to learn that Yahuwah is a more accurate rendering of YHW. If you consider seeking truth, you will eventually hear that the correct English rendering is Yah the Eternally Self-Existing. That is the true name of that Yah says you will call him if you love him. So, often Yah said to me, how would you like it if your family called you by the name of your worst enemy? I stopped calling him the Lord instantly. I slipped at times and repented whenever I did. But I've been calling Yah, Yah, since around about November 2000. And he values that and appreciates it. So if he means anything to you, stop calling him God, stop calling him the Lord. His name is Yah. As I say, he said to me many years ago, if you love me, you will call me by my true name, Yah. And that goes for you as well. If you really love him, then call him Yah. See the webpage, The True Name of the Creator is Yah the Eternally Self-Existing, for further discussion. Once you realize that the true, essential, unchanging name of the Creator is Yah, you will discover that the name Yah is embedded in 218 Hebrew names in the Old Testament, starting with Yahushua, incorrectly referred to by Jesus, by Christians as Jesus. Yahushua means Yah is salvation, which puts a very different spin on who Yahushua is and is not. But that is a topic for another article. Folks, the thing to understand here is, as I say, 218 names, and we'll talk about this in more detail a little bit later. Creator's name is Yah. Yahushua, Elijah. Sorry, just bear with me a second. And so forth. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Also refer to the article, The True Names of the Almighty in the Bible, detailed analysis. The associated child pages for a comprehensive list of all the names that include Yah, to understand how the true name Yah permeates the Bible. I've created the ETI version of the Bible, which corrects the names and related errors, with the result that in my translation, the name Yah occurs 4,855 times in the so-called New Testament with commentary, and 11,177 times in the so-called Old Testament with commentary. And I have to say to you that that translation gives a totally different focus on the Bible. It is apparent that the whole Bible is about Yah and the relationship of human beings with Yah. Yahushua, Jesus, is important in the New Testament, but he does not overwhelm Yah. His name means Yah is salvation. Vital to understand this, folks. He wants you to use that name. This nonsense about you might pronounce it wrong, so you don't use it at all is just silly. He is merciful and oft forgiving. If you go to him and say, Father, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce your name, but I think it's Yah, and I ask you for grace, and I choose to call you Yah. Do you think he'll turn you away? Which is better, to call him the Lord, which means Baal, which is a pagan deity with bronze statues with fire that they offered babies as live sacrifices on. Abortions are committed to Baal and to Olech, etc. And you call him the Lord. I sincerely hope that after you've listened to this broadcast, you will never again do that. And then God. Regarding God, consider Exodus 22 and 3. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. Drilling down to the interlinear Bible, we find for Exodus 20 verse 2, we find that the Hebrew translated gods in this case is Elohim, which is Strong's Hebrew number 430, which occurs 2,598 times in the so-called Old Testament. Drilling down on Strong's 430, we find that Elohim can also refer to rulers, judges, spiritual ones, including angels or messengers, Satan, etc. And in fact, it should be translated Mighty One when it refers to someone other than Yah, or Mighty One with capital letters, or Almighty when referring to Yah. So here again you have it. God is the name of a pagan deity. It's a Germanic, demonic God. Demonic Mighty One. So that verse, Exodus 20, verse 2 and 3. I am Yah the Eternal Self-Existing, your Mighty One, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other mighty ones before me. Folks, that's crystal clear. And replacing God, which is an amorphous, meaningless term, with Mighty One makes a huge difference. It's clear that Yahushua is a Mighty One, but he is not the Almighty Mighty One. So getting the language right completely clears out more wrong thinking. And that's why if you're going to read the Bible, get the ETI version. If you go up to the website near the top of the menu, you will find the ETI Bible version. And drill down there, you'll find the Old Testament and New Testament, just two separate sections. The New Testament, Matiyahu to Revelation, Matthew, there's a word containing Yah, Matiyahu, and the Old Testament, Bereshith to Malachi. So again, God is a blasphemous name and should be avoided at all costs. Then Eli, as in Elijah, is a derivative Elohim, generally also translated God, but correctly translated as my beloved one. So Elijah means Yah is my beloved mighty one. It's a term of endearment, and there are about 100 names in the Old Testament that contain Eli. When referring to the Creator, refer to him as Yah first and foremost, or as the Almighty. If the context indicates otherwise, or mighty one, as in Yah the Eternal self-existing is one mighty one, you shall have no other mighty ones before him. So folks, if you are listening to a song and it's got God or the Lord in it, replace it with Yah. Or in the case of God, you might replace it with Eli if the context doesn't fit with Yah. Can you see the difference between Elijah, meaning nothing, and Eli, Yah, meaning Yah is my beloved mighty one, or my beloved mighty one is Yah? It's a huge, 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 huge difference. And if Yah has some meaning to you in your life, I adjure you to stop calling him God, stop calling him the Lord, call him Yah, call him the Almighty, call him my Eli. So in conclusion, this is really, really important. If you're not doing so already, I encourage you to start using Yah, Yahuwah, the Almighty and Mighty One, in the context of the Almighty Creator with immediate effect, and Eli, El or Eli. Just put yourself in his shoes for a minute. Think about the difference between calling him God, which is an insult, and Eli, meaning my beloved mighty one. Father Yah, you are my Eli. Father Yah, you are my beloved mighty one. Surely you can see that makes a huge difference. Surely you can see that if you care for him, you will never again call him the Lord or God. You'll call him Yah or Yahuwah as appropriate, or the Almighty or Mighty One, or Eli or my beloved Mighty One. So continuing, this is based on the article 2025-0601, the essence of false names, vitally important, the Lord versus Yah. I'm constantly confronted with people using the false names, the Lord, God, Jesus, etc., by people who clearly have no appreciation for the discomfort and angst that this causes the Almighty Creator and his servant Yahushua, incorrectly Jesus. The aim of this segment of the broadcast is to headline the key issues. There's much more information on the website. So the Lord, as I said a minute ago, is a pagan, demonic name. Father's true name is Yah. The name translated the Lord in most Bibles is not the name of the Creator. It's an accurate translation of Baal, the demonic deity mentioned repeatedly in the Old Testament. Refer Matiyahu, incorrectly Jesus, 22 verse 37. Jesus said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. Correctly translated, this should be Yahushua said to him, you shall love Yah the Eternal self-existing, your mighty one, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is quoting Debarim incorrectly, Deuteronomy 6:5, verbatim. and clearly indicates that we should worship Yah, not worship Yahushua. If you reference this on BibleHub.com at Deuteronomy 6:5 and select interlinear in the top row menu, you will access the interlinear Bible and find that the more accurate translation of the Lord is Yahweh, as I said a few minutes ago. So virtually all modern Bibles are horribly corrupt on this front. Please see the ETI version on the website for corrections and commentary. In particularly the introduction to Mattiyahu to Revelation for a detailed discussion of core issues with the common translations. Folks, that ETI version is the culmination of basically 30 years walking with Yah, understanding what's important to him, and fixing a whole bunch of errors that are there because the original translators were oppressed. I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know how it was possible for such horrible errors to be present in the original English translations. And I don't know how it was possible that people who have, in modern times, published and created the vast variation, over 100 different English Bible versions, and a large proportion of the Bibles in other languages are direct translations of the King James Bible and one or two others. And yet those who've done the translations have not had whatever it is to go and say, you know what, that is inaccurate, this is the truth. The fact is the people that have produced the interlinear Bibles know the truth. There are interlinear Bibles that were published 50, 60, 70 years ago with the truth in them. And yet there is this, I'm sorry, I have to call it demonic. This demonic laissez-faire, I don't know what to call it, this just insensitive refusal to use the true names because of tradition, because of whatever. I just don't understand it, folks. And I hope when you listen to me, you're going to say, you know what, I don't understand it either. I'm going to sort this out, and I'm going to bring truth from this day forward onwards. It's horrible. It's an insult to Daddy Yah, to Abba Yah, and to Yeshua, and they both hate it. So if you're hearing this for the first time, get it, take it on board, apply it. Don't carry on with sloppy excuses as to why you call the Creator the Lord or God, or both. So the next article I want to touch on, 2025-09-02, the true name of the Yah occurs approximately 10,661 times in the so-called Old Testament. I continue to see posts and receive emails regarding the true name of the Almighty Creator. I've long been aware of the fact that the true name, Yah, permeates the entire fabric of the so-called Old Testament. In late 2023, I undertook a detailed project to make this visible as the ETI Bible version. And this can be seen on the web pages under the page Bereshith or Genesis to Malachi, the Old Testament, on the website. So you go onto the website near the top of the menu, the ETI Bible version, hover your mouse over that. You'll get a list of options, one of which is the Old Testament, one of which is the New Testament. Hover over that. You'll get the introduction and the entire Bible by book, which you can either download as a PDF or a Microsoft Word docx, or which you can then print or just read, and you can read it online. And so I went through the whole Old Testament and the whole New Testament and replaced all the wrong names and all the wrong words with the correct names, correct words. Here's a bit of a project. But it's there, it's done. So you don't need to read a Bible with the wrong names. And it's based on the King James. I would have preferred to base it on the Amplified, but they're copyright issues, whereas the King James is not copyright. And I have such discomfort with believers who copyright their work. I was blacklisted on YouTube a few weeks ago because I had had the audacity to take a copy of somebody's YouTube video, which I thought was really important, and put it in my own YouTube channel so that I could reference it as part of the ETI collection. And they blacklisted me. How then? If what you have to say is at some level from the Almighty, how come is it then your copyright? It should be available to everybody. And if it's your copyright, then what's the point? Either you're serving Yah and you got it from Yah and you're sharing it freely. None of my work is copyright. You're free to copy it, distribute it, publish it, restream it, whatever you want to do with it. It's between you and Yah. It's His work. To the extent that it's good and it's got value, it's because of His Spirit in me. And to the extent that it's rubbish, it's me. Don't worry about it. Just focus on what's from Him. So at the time of writing this, back in September 25, I had undertaken an in-depth analysis of the Bible using ChatGPT. I extracted all the verses that included the name Yah, and those verses can be seen on the web page, verses containing the name of Yah, from Bereshith to Malachi, which is also under the ETI Bible version section. So you can go and do a deep dive into what we're talking about now. It's all there for you on the website. On the web page, count of the occurrence of the name Yah in the books from Bereshith to Malachi per book. You'll find a statistic on that web page. You'll find a statistical analysis of the total occurrence of the name of Yah in each book, the total number of instances of Hebrew names which include Yah in each book, the total number of unique instances of distinct names containing Yah in each book, the count of the instances of the phrase Yah the Eternally Self-Existing, frequently translated as Yahweh or commonly incorrectly translated as the Lord. What's my point? I want people to understand just how the name of Yah permeates the entire Bible. The Bible is fundamentally about the relationship with people with Yah. And if you don't know His name, if you don't use His name, you cannot fully understand the Bible. Then on the web page, book by book listing of all the names, including Yah from Bereshith to Malachi, you'll find a list of all the Hebrew names, including Yah, on a book by book basis with a count of each name in that book. On the web page, meaning of names, including Yah in Bereshith to Malachi, you will find a list of the 218 Hebrew names that include Yah, together with the English equivalents as given in the King James Version of the Bible, as well as the meaning of each of these names. The total count of these names is 3,608. These names are also listed. I will touch on that in a minute. What I want you to see, folks, 218 people in the Old Testament given a name that includes Yah. Yah was front and center in the lives of those people, and yet in the majority, the vast majority of Bible translations, that correspondence is completely destroyed and lost. It's gross. It's an abomination. I don't know. I just don't understand how the translators did that. I've tried to be generous in the past, but frankly, I don't understand. It's crystal clear. They're translating from the Hebrew. The Hebrew has got the name Yah. They call him Elijah or Jeremiah. Jeremiah is Yirmiyahu, Matthew, Mattiyahu. It's crystal clear. It's there in black and white, and it's completely and utterly ignored. 3,608 instances of names including Yah in the so-called Old Testament. And by the way, it's not the Old Testament. It's the book of the happenings of the Old Covenant and things before the Old Covenant. It's not a testament. It's not a will. There are so many common English words that are off the mark. And if you go to the website and you go down to section, I think it's 1B, you'll find about 21 pages correcting a whole lot of commonly used Christian names that are wrong, that are misleading, that they distract, that they don't actually communicate the full message. So what I ask you to take note of is that this analysis clearly demonstrates that the true name of the Almighty Creator is Yah. You may have some variances of transliteration and Hebrew pronunciation, but the fundamental name is beyond dispute. I testify that the Almighty Creator has clearly advised me that Yah is the most accurate rendering of his true name in English. There are no other names. There are descriptors, but those do not count. This nonsense about the 12 names of Yah. Jehovah Jireh. No, Yahweh Yireh. Yahweh is my provider. It's not a name. It's a Hebrew term, a technical term. Yahweh is my provider. Yah, the eternally self-existing, is my provider. That's what Jehovah Jireh actually means. It's not a name. Jehovah, another abomination. How do you get to Jehovah from Yahweh? Just this perverse insistence on hiding Yah's name. So just a few names in the Old Testament. And I'm just calling it the Old Testament because that's what you know, and it's a kind of second order issue compared to what I'm talking about now. So including Yah, Morai Yah, translated in the King James, Moriah, means chosen by Yah. Yahudite, Judith, Jewess. What's Jewess got to do, or Judith got to do with Yahudite? One from the nation of Yahudah. Yahudah occurs 811 times in the Old Testament. Judas or Judah. It's a name of a person. It's a name of a tribe. It's a name of a geographic area in Israel. Means praise Yah. Yahusef, 195 times. King James, Joseph, means Yah has added. How do you get from Yahusef to Joseph? What are you trying to do with that? I've been so polite about this for so many years, and just today I don't feel like being polite. It's just ugly. It's horrible. And then Yalil, that's sort of same. Jalil in the King James, hope in Yah. And as I've said, there's however many, 218 or whatever, 318. The whole list is there on the website, on the page. And that analysis conclusively indicates that the true name of the Creator is Yah, and this name permeates the Old Testament and Hebrew culture. You can go to the article that we're talking about on the website, and you'll get all the rest of those names. And then Article 2025-0903, The true name of Yah occurs approximately 3,594 times in the so-called New Testament. Again, it's not the New Testament, it's the New Covenant, it's the story of Yeshua, and the 4 books of the Gospels are 95% under the Old Covenant, because the New Covenant only came into existence when Yeshua died on the stake, not the cross. So I've long been aware of the fact that the true name Yah permeates the entire fabric of the so-called New Testament as well as the Old Testament. In late 2023, I undertook a detailed project to make this visible as the ETI Bible version, and this can be seen on the web pages under the page Matiyahu, incorrectly Matthew to Revelation, the New Testament, under the ETI Bible version page that I spoke about a minute ago. There's so much wrong thinking, folks, and I understand that when they originally translated into English, there was a lot of opposition, there was persecution. Some of the first translators were burned at the stake or tortured or beaten, locked up in jail because they were supposedly breaking Catholic commandments. But that was hundreds of years ago. How then do all these people who have produced all these different versions, particularly of the New Testament, perpetuate these errors while they pursue some second order ease of readability, new international version, a new this version, a new that version, a this version, a that version, a whatever version? If you go onto Bible Hub, you'll see, 20 or 30 different English translations, and it gives you a parallel display. So you'll see, if you go in verse by verse, you'll see that verse in the NIV, you'll see it in the King James, you'll see it in the New King James, you'll see it in the ASB, you'll see it in the Amplified, you'll see it in this. And most of them say largely the same thing. And yet people have spent so much time producing all these different versions, and they get the names wrong. I don't get it. I don't understand it. So then subsequently I undertook an in-depth analysis of my ETI Bible version of the books from Matiyahu to Revelation with ChatGPT. I extracted all the verses that include the name Yah, and these verses can be seen on the web page. Verses containing the name of Yah from Matiyahu to Revelation. On the web page, counted the occurrence of the name Yah in the books from Matiyahu to Revelation. Per book, you'll find a statistical analysis of the total occurrence of the name of Yah in each book, grand total 3,594, the total number of instances of Hebrew names including Yah in each book, the count of the instances of the phrase Yah the Eternally Self-Existing, frequently translated as Yahweh and commonly incorrectly translated as the Lord, and counted the instances of the Spirit of Yah as commonly translated as Holy Spirit. Folks, I've gone through, I believe, with guidance from Yah, and corrected the errors in the New Testament. It's not as easy as the Old Testament because you don't have the Hebrew to fall back on. But based on my reading of those verses, I've made those corrections. Then on the web page, Meaning of Names, including Yah in Matiyahu to Revelation, you'll find a list of the 20 Hebrew names in the New Testament that include Yah, together with their English equivalents as given in the King James Version of the Bible, as well as the meaning of each of those names. The total count of these names is 1,396. So you get Matiyahu incorrectly Matthew, you get Yahuchanan incorrectly John. How do you get from Yahuchanan to John? Doesn't make sense. Yahuchanan means Yah has graced. So John comes with a measure. Yahuchanan comes with a message of grace. That's why he was given the name Yahuchanan, bearer of grace. The Bible just takes on a new dimension, a new life when you get these words correct. What I ask you to take note of is that the English names in common translated, contrasted with the Hebrew, clearly demonstrates the appalling way in which English translations have completely concealed the true name of Yah. What I find particularly objectionable is that even most modern English translations perpetuate this crime against Yah. And it's a crime against humanity because people believe in the Lord and that doesn't get them to heaven. I contend that if the name Yah were front and center in the Bible as I presented it here and in my previous article, the true names of Yah occurs approximately 10,661 times in the so-called Old Testament, there would be many more true believers on earth today. I want to stress also that Yah has shown me clearly that names are never to be translated. It is an insult to tell someone called Yeshua that their English name is Jesus or Joshua. I appeal to you to walk away from this abominable practice and recognize the true names that are presented here. The ETI Bible version contains all of these corrections, and there are over 1,000 footnotes where I clarify things. The balance of this article is available on the website. Folks, I urge you, go and download the ETI Bible version, read it, put aside whatever version you're in the habit of reading, if you're in the habit of reading the Bible at all. So I want to close by asking you, what is the state of your relationship with the Almighty Creator? I'd like to ask you to critically examine where you are relative to Him today. Do you talk to Him constantly throughout the day and allow Him to lead you in every possible way? Do you worship Him at every opportunity? Have you clearly and unambiguously heard Him call you friend? If not, you're failing in your life purpose and you'll be bitterly disappointed when you die. If you now come to belief, please pray along the following lines. And by the way, if you've been believing in God or the Lord or Jesus, that's not going to get you to heaven. You need to believe in Yah. So pray, Father Yah, I come to you in the name of Yahushua. I now believe that you exist. I confess my sin of unbelief and I repent of my unbelief and I ask you to forgive my sin. I now commit my life to you and I ask you to take me by the hand and lead me into deep relationship with you. I ask you to fill me with your spirit and to change me and help me to become the person you want me to become. I ask you to help me find people who can help me and help me find books, websites, articles, and other resources that will help me. I ask you to show me what I can do to actively serve you and lead others to deep personal relationship with you. I thank you for saving me. There's a period of 8 days from sincerely coming to belief for the first time, during which there is extreme grace to help you. See the article Critical Actions on First Belief for actions you should take immediately. Drop me an email at james@endtimeissueministries.org so I can help you, pray with you, pray for you, counsel you, etc. Folks, this is so important. You must believe in Yah as the Creator, not believe in God or the Lord or Jesus. Believe in Yah. Believe that Yah is real. Believe that Yah created all of this. In closing, thank you for listening. Please send me your questions to james@endtimeissueministries.org. Please email me to join the mailing list at james@endtimeissueministries.org. If you decide to draw close to the Almighty, please let me know and I will connect with you by Zoom, Teams, email, LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp, app, or telephone so that I can help you with your journey. I hope to connect with you again next week when I will continue to explore how to become a friend of the Creator. Work with me to make a way for Yeshua to return in victory at the end of the millennium and make his enemies his footstool. Folks, it doesn't matter who you are. Yah wants you to become his friend. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, educated or uneducated, tall or short, thin or fat, wealthy or poor. It doesn't matter if you're an outright Satanist or Jewish or Muslim or Christian or Buddhist or Hindu or whatever. It doesn't matter if you're a witch or a warlock. It doesn't matter if you're an Islamicist or a whatever. It doesn't matter if you're African, Asian, Indian, American, Caucasian, European, Jewish, whatever. He wants you to become his friend. Start today. Say, Father Yah, James says, I want to become your friend. I want to become your friend. There's an ebook on the website. You go and hover over the word home at the top left-hand corner of the menu. There's a little triangle to the right of it, drop-down list, 7 components of drawing close. Download that, put it into practice. If you really go for it in 2 or 3 years, you will be close to Yah. He wants you to be close to him. That's why he created you, not this other stuff. If you don't get close to him, you'll be so disappointed when you die. So for those of you who've been walking with me for a while, please, thanks. I'll say good night. Go well. Have a great weekend and a great week. And for those of you who've only recently joined, please hold on. I've got something to share with you. So in closing, who am I? James Robertson. I have a doctorate in engineering and I'm a retired military commander. I now work as a management consultant. I have over 32 years' experience of actively seeking to draw close to the Almighty following a dramatic encounter with him on the 12th of March 1993 when he spoke to me audibly in a locked room and I knew for certain that he was real. In learning about Father, I applied my deep-seated aversion to failure born out of an accident in early childhood, coupled to my engineering and military training of rigor and preventing failure, to my seeking of knowledge about Father. This journey led to numerous supernatural experiences, prayers answered, and clear communication with the Creator. It forms the basis for what I teach in these programs. See the video Why Seek Relationship for an overview of what I believe. Please visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org. The ETI version of the Bible with correction of translation errors on the ETI Bible version page near the top of the menu. Recordings of nearly all of the teachings broadcast so far, go to www.relationshipwithcreatorradio.com or search on Google for Relationship with Creator Radio. Transcripts are on the Transcripts of Broadcasts page. Books with teachings from 1998 till May 2019 are on the Books for Printing page. I publish regular email articles. Email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to be added to the list or to seek counsel or prayer to give me feedback. Visit the website and use the article keyword cloud, table of contents, article search, and Google search to locate the information you're looking for. There's a wealth of information on the website, folks. About 1,250 web pages, about 2,500 articles covering a huge diversity of topics. You should be able to find what you're looking for there. If you don't, email me. I'd love to hear from you. There's nothing I love more than getting emails from people who've listened to these broadcasts. Thank you so much. Good night. Have a great weekend and a great week. Cheerio.
Father, I come to you, lifting up my hands. By your grace I stand, just because you love me. I know your favor.
Do you know that the true name of the Almighty Creator is Yah, Y-A-H? Please listen to my broadcast on w4cy.com internet radio or talk4tv.com internet TV to understand why I say this. My name is Dr. James Robertson, and I've been walking closely with the Almighty Creator since 1993. Visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org for a lot of information about the matters of the Almighty. The back issues of broadcast, visit www.relationshipwithcreatorradio.com or email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to find out more. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.